Okay, number 12, find the distance from point A to the given line. So I'm going to put a point at negative 2, 3. That's point A. And I'm going to graph the given line. So the y-intercept is 1 and the slope is 1/2. It's written in slope-intercept form. It's written in the form y equals mx plus b. Okay, so if the y-intercept's 1, that's our initial point. If the slope is 1/2, I'm going to rise 1, run 2. So up 1, right 2. And I'm going to graph the line. This is the line y equals 1/2 x plus 1. Okay, so it says find the distance from point A to the given line. So when it says find the distance, it means find the shortest distance. And the shortest distance is always the perpendicular distance. So I'm going to make a note of that. Shortest distance is the perpendicular distance. So I want to start by finding a line that's perpendicular to the blue line. That passes through this point. So I'm going to call this step 1. And what I'm finding is the perpendicular line. Okay, perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes. So the opposite of a positive is a negative. And the reciprocal of 1 over 2 is 2 over 1, or just 2. So the opposite reciprocal slope of 1/2 would be negative 2. Okay, so now I have a slope. I know that it passes through the point negative 2, 3. And so if I just apply this slope down to right 1, down to right 1, I could get an idea of what the line is going to look like. But I cannot tell I actually do have the y-intercept here. It looks like the y-intercept is positive or negative 1. So if just by graphing I was able to find that the y-intercept is negative 1. And so I could write this equation in slope-intercept form. Y equals negative 2x minus 1. The slope is always in front of x. And the y-intercept is always the constant after x. So this red line is y equals negative 2x minus 1. Okay, in order to find the distance from point A to the line, I need to find the coordinates of this point. I'll call it point B. And unfortunately, it's not on grid lines. So to find the distance between A and B, I need to find the ordered pair for point B. So I'm going to do what's called solving the system of equations. So step 2, we're going to try and find where these two lines intersect. So I'm going to say find the intersection of the two lines. So the first equation that was given was y equals 1/2 x plus 1. And the second line that I wrote was y equals negative 2x minus 1. And now I want to solve this system. I could solve by substitution. I could solve by elimination. There's many different ways to solve it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take equation 1, and I'm going to multiply by 4. Okay, the reason why I chose to multiply equation 1 by 4 is I'm trying to eliminate x. So I'm going to multiply equation 1 by 4. I'm going to keep equation 2 the same. So if we multiply equation 1 by 4, 4 times y is 4y. 4 times half x. 1/2 of 4 is 2, so that'd be 2x. And 4 times 1 is 4. So this is equation 1 where we multiplied everything by 4. Okay, I'm going to keep equation 2 the same. And then I'm just going to add the two equations together. So 4y plus y is 5y. Okay, this is y. I multiplied the first equation by 4 to eliminate x. We eliminate x here. 4 plus negative 1 is 3. And then I could just solve this equation to find y. So if 5y equals 3, divide by 5. And so I could write it as a fraction, or I could do 3 divided by 5. And so as a decimal, the y-coordinate is going to be 0.6. Now, using one of these other equations, I'm going to choose equation 2. So equation 2 was y equals negative 2x minus 1. I'm going to replace x with 0.6 and solve for x. So I'm just adding 1 to both sides. And then if you divide by negative 2, it would be 1.6 divided by negative 2. And x equals negative 0.8. So here's our point B. Point B is located at negative 0.8, comma 0.6. This point is left 0.8, up 0.6. Okay, and then finally, to find the distance between point A and B, I'm going to use the distance formula. So I'm still on problem 12. So to find the distance between point A, which was negative 2, 3, and point B, which was negative 0.8, 0.6, I'm going to substitute into the distance formula. So the distance formula was x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. And so it's x subtract x, negative 0.8 subtract negative 2 squared, plus y subtract y, 0.6 subtract 3 squared. I'm going to use my calculator. Negative 0.8 subtract negative 2 is 1.2. 0.6 subtract 3 is negative 2.4. Okay, 1.2 squared is 1.44. Negative 2.4 squared is 5.76. And 1.44 plus 5.76 is 7.2. And so the distance between A and B is the square root of 7.2. So the distance between A and B is approximately 2.7. Okay, lastly, problem number 13. Which lines are parallel? So, parallel lines have the same slope. Parallel lines are lines that have the same slope. Whereas perpendicular lines, the slopes are opposite reciprocals. So there's several lines here. I'm going to try and find the line, each line. So I'll start with line P and line Q. Those are the two lines with a positive slope. So if I start with line P, this point's on line P as well as this point. So if I start here, I could go up 1, 2, 3, right 1, 2, 3, and I would lie on that line. So the rise over run between 2 points on line P is rise 3, run 3. And 3 divided by 3 is 1. So the slope of line P is 1. If I look at line Q and 2 points on line Q, if I go from this point to this point, I would go up 1, 2, 3, right 1, 2, 3, rise 3, run 3. And so line Q also has a slope of 1. So what that tells me is that line P is parallel to line Q. They have the same slope. Okay, now I'm going to look at a few of the other lines. For example, I'm going to look at line T and line S and line R. And I'm going to use rise over run to calculate the slope. So if I'm looking at line T, I could say go down 1, 2, 3, right 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me check that again. It's down 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. So line T is down 3, right 4. Okay, for line S, if I start up at this point, I would go down 1, 2, 3, right 1, 2, 3. So down 3, right 3. Could simplify. Negative 3 divided by positive 3 is negative 1. This one had a slope of negative 3/4. Okay, and then for line R, if I start up here at negative 2, 4, try and get down here to 2, 1, I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, right 1, 2, 3, 4. So down 3, right 4. Okay, you can see that line T and line R have the same slope. So lines with the same slope are parallel. Okay, and then we also learned that if lines have opposite reciprocal slopes, so 1 is the opposite reciprocal of negative 1. So line P and S are perpendicular. They have opposite reciprocal slopes. Also, line Q and S are perpendicular. They too have opposite reciprocal slopes. So that is it for the Chapter 3 test review.